Okay, folks, it's June 17th, 2025. We have an XRP market update. Taking a look here at the current events, financial markets, put it all together and find an opportunity to take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. That's the objective here. Now, I got to say, hey, praise God. So grateful that we're in this position right now. I just got off the grill, cooked up a little carne asada. I did happen to have a couple Corona lights, and some carne asada. Absolutely fantastic and blessed. And I just think, wow, I get to be here on the back patio grilling up carne asada, hanging out with my family. Meanwhile, I got buddies, best friends from school. They're off here deploying to support the military conflicts that continue to be going on. We got full coverage here. We're going to be taking a look at it. President Trump decided not to do a presser, not to show up tonight for a press conference. So unfortunately, we won't get the update from President Trump here tonight unless anything happens while we're going live. I do want to let you guys know I would greatly appreciate it if we are seeing anything breaking. Please light me up in the comments and we'll check that. This is an ongoing situation that's very hot, to put it lightly. And so it's changing by the hour. Now, what we have here as we go live to start off this episode is an update on the current events, and then we're going to go into financial markets. And the fundamentals have never been better for this digital asset space. I want to take tonight's live show to remind everybody just how well positioned XRP along with ROUSD is for a $3.7 trillion unlock with stablecoin legislation getting passed within the Senate here tonight. The Genius Act, now it goes over to the House. If approved, then it goes to President Trump's desk for signing into law. Absolutely critical that we get this done because we know that the US dollar is losing its status as the most dominant reserve currency. And so to save the US dollar, we knew that stablecoin legislation was absolutely key. And sure enough, we were wondering what was going to happen. There wasn't any good legitimate issuers of stablecoins on the XRP ledger. It was a serious problem that we had. It's a problem no more, as Ripple has laid the blueprint with ROUSD already over collateralized. It's like in class when you had the goody good kid, right, the teacher's pet, that not only got their homework done on time, they got it done early, and they did more than what was expected. That's what ROUSD is setting right now with their standard of over collateralizing ROUSD. It's not just backed one-to-one, it's over collateralized. There's also no counterparty risk because Ripple themselves is the custodian. Unlike Circle, which got caught up when Silvergate Bank went down, the banking crisis of 2023. Yeah, Circle got caught up in that. Over $3 billion of their collateral was held at a counterparty that went bust. Whoopsies. Now, I'm not even going to mention Tether. We already know the deal over there. But this is why I say ROUSD is perfectly positioned on the XRP ledger, where these deep open public pools of liquidity are being established. And now with that blueprint, Ripple can take that to their institutional partners. And this is what I kind of suspected all along, is that Ripple might do the US dollar derivative, but that they were going to allow their partners to do Japanese yen, Brazilian real, euro dollar, Singapore dollar, and now USDC finally decides to wake up and come join the party on the XRP ledger, which I think actually might be a part well, we'll talk more later about the potential for Ripple to actually acquire Circle, because I do think that that's still in the cards. I just think that Ripple refused to overpay. And so they're allowing Circle and some of these other guys like Justin Sun and Tron to go public, capitalize on the hot new thing, which is stablecoins. And after they're done being overvalued and they come back down to fundamental value, I think that that's when Ripple might move, might snipe, and might scoop that one up for a fraction of the cost and the valuation that Circle is trading at today. But more on that later. Without further ado, I want to get into this update because there's so much to cover. One thing, too, to be certain of is that we're making profit no matter whether this market's going up or down. I let the Discord group know last night that I had entered a fresh Bitcoin short in preparation of the events that were going to be taking place in the Middle East. As soon as I saw President Trump leaving the G7 early, as soon as I saw that he wanted the National Security Council present when he touched down, that's when I entered a Bitcoin short. I hadn't been trading over the weekend. I hadn't been trading the war. I took my profit and I started praying. But I said, okay, this is going on long enough. Somebody has to do it. And so I went in on my Bitcoin short. That position did close today. I had set a stop loss at about 105,000. And so I didn't time the bottom. And I actually wish I kind of was still in this position, but the market had started to turn back up. So I'd set a stop loss and a take profit. This is a position that I entered at 107,100. And so that Bitcoin short was closed out at 105,000, just under 10% profit. So nothing that's going to really do much, in today's day and age, and the bills that I got trying to feed a family of four. But I'm only trading, a small portion of my portfolio in my trading bag, never over leveraging myself. But I do like to take advantage of this opportunity when we do see a downturn in the market to be able to short Bitcoin and still be putting money in the bank. Relatively, we're talking about, more dollars in the Coinbase account. But, able to capture some profit on a red day is always a joy. Considering the conditions, it's not too pleasurable, but once again, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to hedge. And so I would encourage you guys to get tapped in with our Patreon is how you sign up and get access to our Discord group. If you want to get tapped in with the family, it's the only place that I talk about trading in real time. But then I always come here on my live shows and in my updates, and I try to tell you guys how I'm positioned. But this situation's moving so quickly that I can only do live updates with my Discord right when they happen. And we hit these ones so quick. We get in, we get out. And so it's something that we got to, stay on top of. This market is going to catch you off guard if you are over leveraged, and if you are expecting some of these events that we have to send XRP, right up to $50 or $100 right away, right? I see it's tough for people to get right in between. And that's where I like to cut through the noise, cut through the BS, because there's two ways to go viral with XRP content. You go XRP to 10K tomorrow, or you go XRP FUD, it'll never pass $5, and you start to defame Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse, and you come up with all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories about why XRP is never going to go above $5. And so those two polar opposites are what I despise when it comes to XRP content creation. And we try to do our best to cut right through that and provide you guys analysis that combines the current events in the financial markets so that we can stay over the target no matter whether a war is going on, no matter whether there's internal conflict within this country, no matter whether we actually have stablecoin legislation now moving forward. And we're starting to see the fundamentals for crypto couldn't get better. But it doesn't mean that the market maker magicians aren't going to take advantage of these current events, these headlines, to move and bring in this volatility that we've seen so far this week. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to be speaking tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern after the interest rate decision gets released at 2. So we knew it was going to be a volatile week. We're still praying for peace, but we are securing profit. Get tapped in with us. Patreon's where you sign up to get access to Discord. But you're never right. My portfolio begs to differ, my friend. Let's get you caught up to speed, all right? I see super chats already coming in from Bob Seeger. Hey, 5-spot. Appreciate it, Bob. With platforms like Uphold offering incentives for holding $50,000 worth of XRP on their exchange, tells me they are desperate for more supply. I wonder why. It's interesting, the announcement that was made. I don't particularly like how they did it, as far as, hey, if you had $50,000 worth of XRP on June 11th, you're eligible for the airdrop. So it didn't allow anybody to get into position beforehand. It was kind of just an afterthought of, okay, we're going to reward the people that have big bags of XRP on our platform. And that's cool. That's great. I mean, free money's free money. It's funny. Even with free money, people still find a way to complain, right? I gave out free alpha on Zebek last month. We printed millions of dollars for our community. I still get attacked. You know what I'm saying? So even when you do something nice, you do something for free, somebody still manages to get upset. But I will say that, I wish that maybe they would have given us a heads up. Would I have put $50,000 worth of XRP on Uphold? I already got a big bag on there. I don't know how close I am. I haven't checked my portfolio over there lately, but I know I do have a big bag on Uphold. I don't think that I was eligible for this airdrop. But I'm going to have to, take a look and see here the integration with ZBCN, as far as doing this partnership. That's great to see. And I've been telling you guys that ZBCN's not going away. It's not done. It bounced up over 25% yesterday. I haven't checked where it's at today, but I still think that it moves towards a penny. It already busted through my first target of half a penny. I think it's still on its way to a penny. And the fact that they're still making acquisitions, they're still announcing new partnerships. And the thing with the token unlocks is they haven't seemed to impact the price really as much as I was concerned about. That was one of the red flags that I talked about with Zebek, was their tokenomics, 2 billion tokens released every month from now till March 2026, but it hasn't seemed to impact the price. I mean, yesterday was the day after the token unlock and it pumped 25%. So keep your eyes on Zebek. I know many people already took profit. I know a lot of people are still holding. I know a few people did get in late, and I think that you're still going to make out just fine on that one. But, you know, we got a follow-up Zebek update on the way, along with my Stronghold update. My deep dive on Stronghold is on the way as well. So make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of those updates. Let's watch that to see, though, Uphold Zebek. We'll continue to observe that partnership. Vincent Jies, I appreciate the 20 spot. Zach, what do you think of DWP? That's our friends Jake Claver, Max Avery, Mickle now works for Digital Wealth Partners. Huge shout out to those guys. Great work over there. I love to see what they're doing. Do you think it is a safe place to hold your XRP to get institutional custody, set up an LLC, onboard, etc.? A legit way to ensure your digital assets get some returns before price appreciation. I think that it's very interesting. They're one of the few, well, actually, they're one of the only, I think, family offices and firms that's actually focused on digital assets exclusively. So what they're doing is unique. And what I want to see is the results. That's what I'm most interested in. It's from what I understand, they're going to be providing their first return on your XRP here in July. And it looks like that's going to be about 2 or 3%. And that's better than nothing. It really is. And for people that don't manage their own investments and money, I think that they are providing some interesting solutions, a very unique firm. And you know they're part of the XRP family. So that's the nice thing about working with them, is they get XRP when so many people within financial services don't. I self-direct though. So for somebody like me, I mean, I've looked over their platform and I like I said, it's very unique, very interesting what they're doing, but I manage my own money, right? And, you know, I try to hit it out of the park, and we're trying to get some big returns on our trading bag. My XRP, I'm kind of just sitting on right now, personally. I'm just sitting on my XRP, but I'm watching what they're doing very closely. Obviously, one of the biggest pools of liquidity that's being tied up as far as XRP in any fund. My last understanding is that they were at almost $80 million of XRP within their income funds. So that's going to be interesting to watch. That's a big bag of XRP. And I noted that's a big bag of XRP that doesn't get used for cross-border payments. That's a big bag of, XRP that can't be used for liquidity, right? It's, $80 million worth of XRP. That's what, 30, 40 million XRP that's locked up in these income funds that Digital Wealth Partners has created. See, as more and more firms and institutions do this, as more and more degens put 5,000 XRP into fuzzy bears, this is when the supply shock plays out. So I'm watching it very closely. I'm sitting on my hands. What I will say, Vincent, to answer your question as far as security, they're partnered up with Anchorage, which is the standard in institutional grade custody, along with Fireblocks. And I was going to mention Fireblocks here later in this episode as well, too. I know some people have had some questions about Caleb and Brown, whether or not they have insurance, bankruptcy, remote protections. And so I'm going to talk about that actually later. I already had that teed up to talk about later in the show. But basically, you got Anchorage up there, right up there with Fireblocks. So in that regard, they're partnered up with some of the best in the game. So, like I said, we'll see what kind of returns they can produce. It's probably going to be better than a lot of these other platforms. I'll tell you, there's a lot of other platforms out there that I do not feel comfortable with at all. I'm not going to name them by names in tonight's show. But we're just watching and observing all of this DeFi. The suits are showing up. Everybody's showing up. The memesters and degens are showing up. We're watching it all very closely, okay? Yeah. Thank you. Now let's continue. I want to get through my update. So much to cover, but I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Okay. And we will be doing a lot of Q&A here tonight. Thank you. Let's take a sip of an adult beverage, huh? Just got done with the carne. Ooh, that carne asada was money. Picked it up from Costco. It was already already had the marinade on there. Right on the blacktop, Blackstone, with the Corona Light with lime. That's good grilling. That's a good summer session right there. I tell you what. Let's rock and roll. So much to cover. White House has called a full lid for tonight, meaning the president is not expected to be seen on camera. Reports of an address to the nation regarding Iran are false. So President Trump was coming. I was sitting around for like an hour waiting for him to come on, getting all anxious. No show from President Trump here tonight, which really President Trump in control of this situation. Clearly, all eyes on President Trump in the United States right now. And I already put this out on Twitter. I want to reiterate it here, though, for everybody. Unless it comes from President Trump or one of his cabinet members directly, I disregard it. Israeli state media? Come on. You don't really expect us to believe Israeli state TV during this ongoing conflict. Just like we're not going to believe what's coming out of the Iranian media either. It's just like I say, getting information out of Russia, Ukraine. It's dang near impossible. Unless you see real footage, which these days it can be doctored with AI and everything else as well too. But the last thing that I'm going to be doing during this moment is believing the mainstream media. The same mainstream media that's been doing everything that they could to undermine this administration. Making up all these rumors about how Pete Hegseth's going to be kicked out, Scott Bessent's going to leave. All a bunch of hot crap. Just like all of the rumors that they're throwing out right now. Unless it comes from President Trump directly or one of his cabinet members, you can skip me with that lie. That's where I stand on it, okay? But we do have motion. Absolutely. Papa John's and Pizza Hut to the Pentagon have both surged in traffic. These are the closest. Papa John's and Pizza Hut's next to the Pentagon have surged in traffic as of 9 p.m. Eastern. So they are working OT right now at the Pentagon. While U.S. warships are moving into striking range. We're talking carrier groups, destroyers, bombers pre-position. The Pentagon says that this is routine, but nothing about this is casual. Red Sea, Gulf, Mediterranean, all heating up at once. No big flags and no fanfare either. Is this back up? Is this the next move? We're watching very closely. And like I said, I'd already heard from friends of mine within the Air Force that they were getting ready to deploy overseas last week. And I thought, oh, crap, here we go. That's why I cleared my leverage off the table. I took my profit. I started praying. Iran has prepared missiles and other military equipment for strikes on U.S. bases in the Middle East should the United States join Israel's war against the country, according to American officials who have reviewed intelligence reports. So basically, we got missiles pointing at each other from both sides, and we do have missiles raining down as we speak as well. Iranian ballistic missiles reported over Israel. And we also have Israel striking at Iran as well. Explosions reported in Tehran and Kara as air defenses respond. Okay? So a little tit for tat is still going on. Meanwhile, we wait to see, will the United States engage? And I'm going to make one point before I move on to the crypto news. First off, we do have to cover the current events. It's part of how our analysis becomes so over the target repeatedly, is because we have inevitable events that we can invest for, along with all of our other technical analysis, combined with our fundamental analysis, looking even at esoteric analysis too, understanding that all the world is a stage and that these people live by a code. They get off on ritualizing the performance. They get off on hidden in plain sight. Right in front of our faces is how these guys like to ritualize these events. We combine all of this analysis to position our portfolios for massive profit. We position our portfolios and we start praying. It's very simple. Here's my take. For anybody that's curious, I believe in our Constitution, which says that we have to declare war through Congress. I understand that this is not setting up to be a real war as far as America's engagement and involvement within this conflict. They're looking to avoid boots on the ground. They're looking to bust up a nuclear facility and strategic military sites from the air, and then they wrap up these events, wrap up this involvement. And maybe that's all it would be. But for me, I'm a strict constitutionalist, and I would love to see us declare war before we make any moves. Unless the threat is absolutely imminent, we need to be declaring war. And that's the law. I mean, but the crazy thing is that we haven't declared war since, I think, World War II, or maybe it was Vietnam. I can't remember if we did in Vietnam. You guys can fact check me on that one. It's been so long since I've talked about this or really even thought about it. But I believe in non-interventionism if possible. And if there is an imminent threat, I believe in using the full force of the military. And God bless our troops. We have the best in the world. And we have incredible capabilities, no doubt about it. But we should avoid it at all costs. And we also have to remember, as I've always said, we can't afford it either. Our interest payments are exceeding our defense spending. So it's not my opinion that we can't afford it. We just have to take a look at our budget. So that's where I stand, is let's declare war if we're going to do it. And if we are going to do it, let's get in and get out. We don't need to be doing the interventionism. I don't believe in overthrowing regimes, but clearly that is the objective of some. And some people are willing to sacrifice a lot to get that done. I don't believe in that. I believe that if we do need to go all the way, we can declare it constitutionally as we've done in the past. And it's been a while since we've done it. But that's where I stand. We don't need to be wasting trillions like we did in the Middle East. We don't need to be getting involved in internal conflicts while our country continues to have its own internal chaos and struggles. But if an imminent threat is in front of us, we have an obligation. That's where I stand on it. Now, William Coate, thank you for the 10 spot. Thoughts on what is better, creating an LLC or a trust fund? I want to protect generational wealth for my family and will be looking for lawyers in my area to help set them up. You get different, you're going to get, you see, for long-term wealth, you're probably going to want to store it in a trust. For active management of your holdings, you're probably going to want an LLC or an entity, right? There's two different purposes for each entity. And especially if you go the path of an irrevocable trust, then you're not going to be able to make any changes to that going forward. With an LLC, it's pretty easy to change the operating agreement and what it is for. But it really depends on, what are we putting into these entities and what are these entities doing? Usually a combination of the two is going to get the full package. The complete estate plan for you is going to include a combination of the two, an LLC and a trust. Okay. And right now I'm in the process of securing a couple resources for our community. I've been reaching out to some people. One YouTuber that I've been watching in particular is Mark Kohler, and he has a law firm, KKOS Lawyers. I've been in talks with them here recently, and I'm very, very impressed with his approach as well too. But at the end of the day, it's going to be unique to your situation as to what entities you should choose and which jurisdictions they should be set up in. The other thing too is to make sure that you got bags that are worth setting up these entities for. A lot of people putting the cart before the horse, worried about setting up an LLC before they have 10,000 in an investment portfolio. Really, you probably want to see 50 to 100,000 plus before we even need to worry about your LLC. But it's a combination of the two really to get the job done. Stick to crypto? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Crypto Clay. Why do you think we keep knocking it out of the park, brother? Absolutely not. No, go watch Clickbait Crypto if that's what you want. Go watch Clickbait Crypto. There's plenty of it. Crypto Clay just dropped a 20 spot though. Mega baby, Zach knows. Only take it from the boss man, Mickle Mafia. Appreciate you, brother. Crypto Cowboy, thank you for the 5 spot. Thank you, Zach. Attack, always on point, good sir. I appreciate you, my friend. Okay. Now, let's get into our crypto news. This is massive. U.S. Senate votes to pass stablecoin coin crypto legislation, the Genius Act. Meanwhile, the market's red. We saw that. But this is what Brad Garlinghouse has to say. And this is important to consider the context here. For years, crypto companies have been calling on Congress to pass crypto legislation and set rules of the road. This is the first major financial bill since Dodd-Frank, the first crypto bill to pass in the Senate, which now moves to the House, a truly historic moment. And I thought that was interesting that he pointed out this is the first major financial bill since Dodd-Frank. And the Dodd-Frank bill was passed after the Great Financial Crisis. So it's almost like this act, right, this bill is being put forward in preparation, right? Some would say that we're already kind of in the middle of our current, debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. But it's interesting to note, right? We're passing this legislation, the first major financial bill since the Great Financial Crisis Dodd-Frank bill, right? Not saying that the Dodd-Frank bill was good. I'm just saying it's interesting to note. It's almost like we're preparing for what comes next. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he knows how important this is. Stablecoins could grow to a $3.7 trillion market by the end of the decade. Absolutely massive. Now, like I said, the reason why ROUSD is perfectly positioned is because they're already over collateralized and they have no counterparty risk. Ripple stores the US Treasuries and cash themselves within their own trust company. That would be standard custody. Unlike Circle, unlike Tether, that has to keep their collateral at, for Tether, it's Cantor Fitzgerald. For Circle, they're working with traditional banks. We just saw a partnership with JP Morgan. They're going to be launching a coin on Base, I believe, or something like that, tokenized deposits for institutional investors, which to me is kind of a joke, right? Like, okay, you got a tokenized deposit coin for your institutional investors. Who cares? Like, are you that desperate to join the party and, get some attention? Hey, look at us. We made a deposit coin for our institutional investors. It's like, congratulations, that doesn't move anything forward. Like, you already had essentially a digital deposit coin within your own ledger already. Now you're just putting it on Coinbase's ledger to get you a little bit of hype. And so, what we're watching right now is Ripple's perfectly positioned on the XRP ledger. They laid the blueprint, and now you're starting to see all of these other legitimate issuers showing up: Singapore dollar, Brazilian real, euro dollar, USDC, and more coming to the XRP ledger right now. Only a matter of time before we get that Japanese yen. Interested to see a South Korean won, Thai baht. They're partners in APAC. We partner up with them and allow them to bring these stablecoins to the XRP ledger. The same group out of Brazil that did the Brazilian real is also doing a US dollar as well. So we have over half a dozen basically tier 1 issuers arriving on the XRP ledger issuing stablecoins after Ripple laid the blueprint. Now everybody else can copy that template. And the best part about it is that everybody can partake in these public pools of liquidity that are being built out on the AMM. Absolutely love to see it. And where it gets even better is here with partnerships like Axelar. They say stablecoins must be ubiquitous. Ubix links stablecoin issuers like Paxos and Ripple to banks, fintechs, allowing seamless redemption of stablecoins for fiat at par value. It needs open access to all blockchains. That's where Axelar comes in. Axelar is proud to join Galaxy, CB Ventures, Founders Fund, BitGo, Fireblocks, Zodiac Custody, and others in the Ubix Association supporting Ubix planned Q4 launch. So we got a bridge now where these stablecoins can get tapped in with Axelar, and we can see them have interoperability across all of these various blockchains, right? Absolutely massive. What I also wanted to mention is people have been asking me, people have been asking me about Fireblocks, right? And it looks like Fireblocks is the Ubix Association, right? You got Galaxy Digital, Coinbase Ventures, Founders Fund, BitGo, Fireblocks, and Zodia Custody. This is going to be an interesting partnership to watch because Axelar already connected about 60 plus blockchains to the XRP ledger. And now partnering up with Ubix, it looks like we're going to get even more partnerships like Paxos and Ripple can now connect to banks and fintechs. So at the perfect time of stablecoin legislation passing, all of this interoperability is being built out as well. So you got bridges being built by Axelar. You got Circle issuing on the XRP ledger finally. And Circle's already issued on over a dozen blockchains. And so they've already built out that interoperability, but we're only going to see that accelerate from here. What gets interesting for me to watch is how much of that liquidity gets circled back to the XRP ledger, because that ends up being the best source of liquidity, right? What's the incentive to bring your stablecoin, your real world assets, your volume to the XRP ledger is if you can get the most efficient liquidity. And I think that you will. Now, speaking of stablecoins, Arthur Hayes says that Circle is grossly overvalued and warns that most new stablecoin issuers will fail without real distribution, calling the coming wave of IPOs a setup for investors to get wrecked. Now, I said that I was going to mention the possibility for Ripple to acquire Circle. Piggybacking off those comments from Arthur Hayes, I agree that you're seeing Circle go public in an act of desperation to seize liquidity while interest rates are still high, and they were able to generate some hype, making up rumors about a bidding war between Coinbase and Ripple, and that bid up that valuation and allowed them to IPO at a value that was already too high. And then once they've gone public here, it's soared basically just as because it's the first to market, the first stablecoin issuer going public, first to market, getting that first mover's advantage, and it gets way overvalued, over 30 billion market cap. And I think we could even see, I think John Deaton mentioned, we could see it open up, moving towards a $40 billion market cap tomorrow, completely overvalued. My running theory right now in speculation is that Ripple is watching all of these companies, not just the stablecoin issuers, but all of these companies that are going public. They're letting them go out and kind of tease Wall Street in the masses to what could be coming. Because you got Circle rushing to go public. You got Justin Sun, which to the degree at which Justin Sun is a scammer and a fraud, I'm not going to comment on. Okay, but there's many people that could go into detail on that. I have only done surface level research on Justin Sun and his involvement, but I've never felt good about what they've been up to with HTX, Huobi, and then obviously Tron as well. Never felt comfortable with that. And now they're saying that they're going to be going public. Tron is. And it's like, well, okay, does that mean that Tron, the token, is a security? What are you talking about? Tron is going to go public. And what happened? This dude was just being investigated. I don't know if he ended up doing a settlement. I don't have all the details in front of me. But Justin Sun goes from basically, committing some interesting things to now he's going to be going public, right? So this has gone full circle. But I say that, and I bring that up to explain my ongoing theory right now, which is that Ripple's letting these characters go public and tease what could be. Yeah, Circle, go ahead. See what kind of liquidity you can bring in. Justin Sun with Tron, go ahead. Go run on out there and see what you can do with your banana, which I think he just gave his banana. That was the banana that was, duct taped to a wall or duct taped to a picture. And Justin Sun bought that banana for millions of bucks. I think he gave it to Trump now. My theory is that Ripple's allowing this to happen. They're not in a rush to go public. Maybe they never will go public. I do think that they eventually will. But they have the ability to sit back, watch Circle run up this valuation. But then I do believe it's going to come back down to its fundamental value. And that would be the perfect time for Ripple to make their move on Circle. And I think that, they're letting these other participants warm the market up. before it's time for them to have the spotlight. And they will have the largest IPO in the history of the world if they, can go live anytime in the next year or two, with XRP's value, remaining the same or potentially being a lot higher. They're definitely going to have the largest IPO in the history of the world when that does happen. Now, let me continue here. We got some more to catch up on. And I thought that, okay, I did miss a super chat from Dennis. Dennis, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What we see here, this is a Ripple partner. BBVA, Spain's second largest bank, is advising wealthy clients to invest a portion of their portfolios in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I wanted to point this out here because you already know, if they're advising their wealthy clients to invest a portion of their portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're definitely advising them to invest in other cryptos too. But what Cointelegraph and the Bitcoin Magazine and all of these mainstream publications will put out, it's just like these, strategic reserve bills that were getting passed here in the States. They would say, oh, this is a Bitcoin strategic reserve bill. And then you go to the bill, it doesn't mention Bitcoin anywhere. It just mentions digital assets. But they take this and then they put it out that it's only Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum too. Well, if BBVA is telling their wealthy clients to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum and they're partnered up with Ripple, you want to try to get me to believe that they're not telling their clients to invest in XRP too? And the key takeaway here is that, as I've been saying, the suits are going to start selling it, doing everything that they can. Now that they have their products lined up, they can't wait to open up the floodgates with the ETFs and the various index funds and other products that they're going to be able to offer you. Depository receipts, all of the above. It is here. Now, I did capture this $200 million XRP transfer from Ripple to an unknown wallet. I have no idea what this is. This could be, sometimes we see an escrow release or an escrow transaction go through late. That does happen from time to time, so this could be a nothing burger, but I did notice that come through today. Now, the big one that we were waiting for was a response. The SEC had to respond and give an update to the judge on the ongoing appeal process. And so we got that from the SEC yesterday, and today Ripple has submitted a supplementary letter in support of the motion for an indicative ruling. Let me see right here. There you go. This is Ripple's law firm. And so they finally did come through here, and they provided this supplemental letter in support of the motion for an indicative ruling, or for what is essentially the settlement proposal that has been submitted by the SEC. So many people misreported, and it was unfortunate to see. Many people reported that the case has now been delayed till August 15th. That is not true. That is not true. The decision that we're waiting right now comes from Judge Torres, and it's on her desk. It could happen any day. We were totally expecting the SEC and Ripple to file, an update and a supplemental letter yesterday. That was the deadline for them to get that in, and we expected them to ask for another delay to basically, update the court that, hey, we're still waiting on Judge Torres to rule on our settlement. That's where this is at. But of course, a bunch of people took this and ran with, oh, the case is extended till August 15th. And the usual XRP fudsters and haters ran with it. And then, the crybabies show up in the comments, oh, this case is never going to end. Yes, it is. This case is going to end in the next 60 days. Do you have enough XRP is the question. I asked it in today's episode earlier today, and that's the main question that we need to be asking ourselves, pondering, the situation at hand, which is this case does end 100% in the next 60 days. We get a ruling from Judge Torres this week or next week. That's what our eyes need to be on. Not on these letters that were submitted by Ripple and the SEC updating the court on the ongoing appeal process. But for the breakdown, I'm going to bring up Fred Rispoli's breakdown summary of what this letter said. He says at 1.5 pages, this is not the strongest attempt, but it is an attempt. This concisely addresses 3 issues that were so obviously unaddressed that Ripple finally realized it had to say something. Number 1, the district court isn't the end all of this case. Appellate courts are, and this ends appellate risk. 2, nothing is really being changed by dissolving the vanilla injunction. The summary judgment ruling remains, and Ripple cannot break the law regardless of the injunction. And this is kind of what I've been saying this whole time too, is that the injunction is stating the obvious. The injunction, as it's worded, literally just says don't violate Section 5 of the securities law. That's all it says, which is like putting up a speed limit sign on the road. It's like, yes, we all know that you should not violate Section 5. We all know that the speed limit's 50. You shouldn't go over 50. Thank you for the Galaxy Hansen. Thank you for the gifts on TikTok. If you guys could keep tapping the screen, sharing the stream out, greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the gifts. TikTok, YouTube, X, thank you for your support. If you guys haven't already, make sure we like this video, share it out far and wide. But I'm like, what was the point of even putting in this injunction? It's the same thing you would tell to anybody. Don't violate the securities law. And so Fred noting that nothing is really being changed by dissolving the vanilla injunction. Number 3, Ripple is only in this situation as opposed to the majority of other SEC targets because the SEC, Ripple is only in this situation as opposed to the majority of other SEC targets, but the SEC chose Ripple years before it attacks on other industry players. I'm still underwhelmed, but feeling more optimistic. This may push us over the line. So this may be enough for Judge Torres to accept these exceptional circumstances and agree to the settlement agreement and wrap up this case once and for all. Now, the point that they make, number 3 there, is that the SEC is already settled up and dropped all these cases with all these other people. Ripple's the only one that still has this cloud over them because the SEC, they haven't been able to come to this settlement agreement yet. So, in my opinion, this is enough. Judge Torres gonna read the room. Nothing really changes. Ripple still can't violate the law. They have to pay a little bit less of a fine, but they still get held accountable. Ripple broke the law. They committed a speeding ticket violation. They were going 5 over in the securities world. That's what this is the equivalent of. Please disregard anybody that's saying that this is fraud. All the crazy things that they've said to defame Brad, Chris, and Ripple and the executives. All of that's crap. Fraud was never even alleged, yet people are still saying that fraud's involved. No. This is the equivalent of going 5 over the speed limit. They should have been just given a warning. And in fact, they tried to go to the SEC. They tried to get clarity. But here we are, the case that seemingly never will end, but it is going to end in the next 60 days. We are going to hear from Judge Torres this week or next week. So do not sit back. I'm really worried about a lot of people that because of the ongoing war conflicts, and then this situation with the case, and then we saw today that the Franklin Templeton ETF got delayed. Oh my gosh. We should note that they also delayed the Solana ETFs as well. So as much as we like to think that it's just us being attacked, and trust me, I got my red folder right here, and the damages are absolutely massive. Hundreds of billions with ease, probably can prove trillions of damages. They did delay the Solana ETFs as well. But what is inevitable? It's inevitable that this case ends in the next 60 days. It's inevitable that the ETFs for XRP go live by Q3. It's inevitable that 2 spot XRP ETFs are going live in Canada tomorrow. It's inevitable that the stablecoin legislation is going to pass by August. It's highly likely that the market structure bill is going to pass by August. And it is highly likely that a version of the big, beautiful bill will pass. And they're going to make this money printer go burr like never before. And it is unlikely that Jerome Powell is going to cut rates tomorrow, or the Fed is going to cut rates tomorrow. But I'm interested to see what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Let me get to your rapid fire Q&A. I meant to mention it earlier today, but we also should celebrate the fact that our silver, our precious little shiny metal, is having itself a day up to $37 per ounce. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. And the haters say we never got anything right. Whoops. That might be another one you missed if you weren't paying attention. Rapid fire Q&A. If you haven't already, let's make sure we like this stream, share it out far and wide. We got affiliates for precious metals linked up down below at ZachRector.com. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Is it likely that Joey goes to 10 million? I pulled a fib on Joey going to 12 million. I'll be honest with you guys. I pulled a fib on Joey going to 12 million market cap. And that's, what is that, 5 or 6x from here? Yeah, I don't think that Joey's done. We still got to onboard another 5 million. Actually, I'd like to see 10 million. That's my goal, is to onboard another 10 million XRP wallet addresses in the next year. That should be the goal. We need to be max engaging. Crud Dog, if you want dog tags, we got them listed at the website. All of the XRP family merch is available over there. Ben, thank you for the super chat. Let's see, you said you haven't gotten your order yet. 6852. What we noticed, I don't have a pen here, but I'll remember that. 6852. Ben, please message merch at ZachRector.com. If you guys have any problems with the merch at ZachRector.com. We did have a few orders got sent back to us. Insufficient address or couldn't return the address, something like that. So there's a chance that you might have given us the wrong address. We noticed on a few orders that it looked like people had messed up on the addresses. And so, yeah, there's still some orders that we actually just got back last week. So we're trying to get everything out to you guys. And if you are late, by the way, I'll send you a free hat as well too, just for the inconvenience. Right now, Canada can take up to 3 or 4 weeks. Their postal service went back on strike. We're having issues up in Canada. It's one of the worst places to ship to right now. And so order times can be 2 to 4 weeks to Canada. We're usually getting things out in 2 to 3 weeks worldwide, whether that be Australia, Europe, etc. But Canada's given us a hell of a time. So my apologies to my Canadian brothers and sisters. If you have an issue, though, please note that we're not here to just take your money. Like, we're just not, I don't, that's not what this is about. You're going to get taken care of. So if there was an issue, reach out. I'll send you a free hat. I'll send you something else. We'll make it up to you. Okay. We want to make sure you guys are taken care of. It's about getting XRP family merch into the hands of the community. That's all this is about. So reach out. We'll get you set up. Okay. There also was over there was over a dozen orders that didn't go through that night that we did the giveaway as well too. So make sure that your order actually went through. So some folks, there was over a dozen that didn't. So, well, I love it. He says, I loved all the merch I bought from Zach. Love the long sleeve. My kids keep saying, why are you wearing a Xmas shirt again? It's Christmas during summertime, ain't it, huh? No, I appreciate it. And we got more on the way too. Hats will be listed this week. New Trump XRP hats will be listed this week. More XRP family hats will be listed this week. And then we have more designs that are going to be dropping over the coming weeks too. So be prepared for that. Zebek, $2 coming. I don't think so. I know people have been asking about this shirt too. This shirt's not for sale. I do not have this shirt listed. President Trump, Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart Alderati. I know so many people want this one. I meant to catch up to Brad in Vegas, and I was going to ask him for his permission, but I didn't get to meet Brad or David. I was going to ask him about it. And we did just get re-upped on the dog tags with new dog tags on the way as well, too. But we got the XRP family, the Better Bitcoin. I had to hit up Tyler while I was in Vegas. I said, bro, we need another order. He got it to me in a couple days. He's a great guy. We got more designs on the way, too. Okay. Rapid fire, let's get it. Dennis, thank you for the 10 spot. Was a financial advisor for 40 years. A get if LVGTR if at 400,000 plus. State robs estates. Wills won't cut it. If you have 15 to 20,000 XRP, $100,000 plus, you may want LLC for protections and tax benefits. Correct. Yeah. That's the thing, is that as we approach over about $50,000, we got to get serious about that. And especially too, if you're very active, you're going to want to offset. You have to understand that just because you have an LLC doesn't mean that you're not going to be paying taxes. I think that there's some misconceptions out there. Some people are thinking, oh, if I just have it in an LLC, I can never lose the assets and I can never, I'll never pay tax. The LLC is a pass-through entity, so you're still going to have a tax burden. Ideally, you can keep that at long-term capital gains tax, and then you can mitigate that tax burden with expenses and depreciation if you have real estate, etc. So you're going to want to get a good accountant on your team, one that's going to be active with you. But absolutely, Dennis, it's a great point. We got to be getting our team established right now. I'm in the process myself of setting up the entities and the trust. Yeah. Yep. Eric Cheatham, I appreciate that. Zach has a great deal of information for all of you daily, and I'm serious about that. I already knew about the KCs in the air last week, and Zach broke the news for you all. That's very cool. Yeah, and yeah, it's nice to have some friends in the military. There's some of the best sources, absolutely, but it's also like, holy cow, here they go, off into the storm. But we're praying for them. We're praying for them, and yeah. We got the best troops in the world. Bully Wonka, thank you for the 5 spot. I'm up nice on that Joey XRP. Thanks to you, buddy. That's what it's about. Yeah, I'm up a couple hundred, 200-300%. I think 300% on Joey. Let me pull it up here real quick just to take a quick look at it. Okay, there's Joey right there. We're going to slide on over. So on Dex Screener, you can look at the price chart, you can look at the market cap chart, or you can look at, so you can see right here, my cursor right up here, the price chart, market cap chart, USD chart, or XRP chart. So what do you want to price it in? Right now, most of the time I'm pricing stuff in XRP, even though a lot of market participants are probably actually looking at this from a US dollar standpoint, and a lot of people are going to look at it from a market cap standpoint as well too. The market cap will at least give you a little bit more insight as far as the tokenomics go. But yeah, Joey, big green candle came in. That was yesterday. Came back down here today, but looks ready to hop to another all-time high. What I had done is I pulled a fib on the market cap chart, and market cap chart priced in USD. And like I said, it goes somewhere pretty fun. This is a full fib extension that could potentially go up to 18 million. That's a big one. But even my more conservative fib retracement here is 12 million market cap. And so my next targets for this one are actually 6 to 8.5 million between the 1618 and the 2618 fib. Make sure you guys can see that right there. Yeah, and so right now it's at 2.83 million. If it goes up to 6 million, that's a 3x. If it goes up to 8, you're a 4-bagger. 4x, 400%. So not bad at all. Not bad at all on the potential for Joey. Full extension up to 12 million. Obviously, that would be a nice one too. Yeah, I don't think this one's done. It's such a clean narrative with all of these meme coins and all this crap, and so many of these meme coins have thousands and thousands of bag holders. Joey's new. How many holders does it have? I might have to look on First Ledger. But I looked at some of these other meme coins, you know, they got 10,000 holders, and that chart's been doing nothing but bleeding. You got a lot of bag holders that can't wait to get that exit liquidity, so you're going to have to watch out for that. Geez, good life. Thank you for the 10 spot. I appreciate that. Contributing to an adult beverage. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. B. Hodlin, XRP. Zach, great to see you and your wife in Las Vegas. Thanks for the monkey shirt. It made Ray Fuentes, XRP Las Vegas real. All the best. I love to see it. Shout out to Ray. Great hustle. Zach, do you see a 45-cent DEG? Yes, that's why I'm so bullish on DEG. I don't speak about it often, but it's a sleeper. I'm bullish as hell on it. 10x potential from 4 cents to 40 with ease. That's the previous all-time high. So we're talking about not even breaking up to a new all-time high for DEG, and you're looking at a 10-bagger. You know, with the ongoing current events, global conflicts too, might be something to consider investing in a project that's already partnered up with the Department of Defense. Not that I want to profit off war, but somebody's got to. And their work is really important too. What they've done with the Panasonic Toughbook, Panasonic now creating their own metagraph on DEG. It's a big deal. Eric Cheatham, thank you for the 10 spot. He says, see, I always say that you guys don't always just respond to super chats. I know that you make money on this, however, I respect you because you do this from a very real place. And that's the thing, Eric, is I couldn't do it without your support. So I try to go through rapid fire Q&A, whether you're super chatting or not. But of course, we wouldn't be able to keep the lights on without you guys. I don't have any sponsors. I have my affiliates, which are community resources available for you guys. I have my private community through Patreon. We have the XRP family merch, and then we just have to put out good content every day to keep you guys coming back. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Appreciate that. Prediction on XDC, 40 to 60 cents for XDC. Yeah, and so it's a runner. It's a big one, and that's nothing crazy too. That would just be doubling up its previous all-time high, I believe. XDC, yeah, it's gonna run big time. It's gonna run big time. I'm not calling for, you know, $1 XDC, $2 XRC, you know, $5, $10 XDC, but that sucker's gonna run up, I think, 40 to 50, maybe even 60 cents. Yeah, very bullish. Dennis, I know. I saw that you were in Vegas. I'm sorry that I missed you too, my friend. I was all over the place. Doc Holiday, that's exactly it. You guys are my sponsors. That's it. 100%. My sponsors are my community. Absolutely. Zach, where's the XRP ETF tradable? On the Toronto Stock Exchange, there will be 2 XRP spot ETFs tomorrow. I don't know if you're talking about the spot ETFs for Canada. Those will be on the TSX tomorrow. XRP socks. I know. I need to get some of those too, huh? Yeah. I doubled down on Zebek, and I thank you and the Ninja for that heads up. Did Ninja end up putting out a video on Zebek? Last time I talked to Ninja, he said that he was in Zebek and that he was waiting to make a video on it, and that he had saw my video, but I haven't seen if he's put out a video on it yet or not. Silent on Zebek? No, oh no, Zebek's still gonna run. Gosh, no, we're not done with Zebek. I'll be honest with you guys, I sold out completely. And I was about to buy back in, but it didn't go down low enough when it pulled back. Let me pull up Zebek. I'll show you what happened here. Zebek didn't go as low as I wanted it to. It only went down to 0.0036. And I was waiting for it to go down to 0.003 to 0.0025. That's the level that I was trying to pick up a bag again. But this sucker pumped 900%, pulled back 50%. A lot of people freaked out. I mean, it's still down from that most recent high, right? It's still down 42%. A lot of people freaking out. Well, you know, it's pretty common after an asset pumps 900%. It's going to cool off for a little bit. Some people are going to take some profits. I still see a bunch of crap being shared about Zebek. People are sharing all this stuff about Sam. The founder of Zebek was involved with that one scam project. He was an advisor. To the level of his involvement, there's no proof that he was involved any further other than advising a project. And, you know, the guys behind that project were the scammers, not Sam. And, you know, a lot of this FUD can be addressed by just doing a little bit of research. But I see people putting out clickbait videos. I sold all my Zebek. Well, first, I see these guys are clowns. They're absolutely liars, too. One of these guys, he says, I sold all my XRP to go into Zebek. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And you already had a small bag of XRP, too, because I know you guys. I know these TikTok little guys. They go back a ways. They're silly. They're absolutely a joke. But they make these clickbait videos. I sold all my XRP to go into Zebek. And then today, I sold all my Zebek because I can't do my own research and somebody told me that it's a scam. Terrible. Terrible. And I pointed out the red flags, the tokenomics, the team. I'm not thrilled with Sam. But, you know, is he a scammer? No. I'm not going to go that far yet. But he needs to show up. Just like pretty much every other crypto project that I have researched, nearly all of them are lacking in that department. Get your face out there. Nobody does it like Ripple. There's very few that do it like that. But yeah, Zebek, no, it's still going to run to a penny in my opinion. My move was to get back in while it was at a quarter of a penny and then ride it back up to a penny. And so pull another 400% profit out of the trade, right? You know, pull another 400% out of the trade, just like I did last time. And, you know, just continue to watch the project and see if it ends up being a long-term hold or not. Jeff, thank you for the 10 spot. Cheers, Zach. H-bar down 50% from January 1st. Should pump big time soon. Thoughts? Yes, I'm bullish. Very bullish on H-bar. So let's go take a look at it. Yeah, so it's going to 10x because right now it's at 15 cents. What was this? Oh, I was trying to see how far up H-bar was since the election. It's still up 250% since the election, but yes, it did fall. It's currently down 62%, yeah, from the high. Great buying opportunity in my opinion. Yeah. Setting a higher low. Still hasn't broken this 12-cent level that we hit in April after the tariffs. Good structure. Good structure, and it's ready to rip. And I think $1.50 to $2, just like I said in my deep dive on H-bar. So, yeah, I'm bullish because you buy it at 15 cents, you sell it at $1.50, and you bag the 10 bagger, take the money and run. And you can still hold a portion of your H-bar if you believe in it long term. I still need to see more. $1.50 to $2 for H-bar. Where can you get Zebek? So I bought Zebek on Uphold. Sorry, Caleb and Brown. You can buy it on Uphold and Caleb and Brown. I bought it on Caleb and Brown. Which reminds me, so let me mention what I was going to say about Caleb and Brown. So yeah, because some people have been asking me about whether or not Caleb and Brown had insurance and whether or not it was bankruptcy remote. So if Caleb and Brown goes bankrupt or bust, are your assets safe? And so I reached out to the Caleb and Brown team, and I wanted to read you off this response that I got from them just over the weekend. They say, yes, our custodial infrastructure and solution is underpinned by Fireblocks technology. So really, you're not storing your crypto with Caleb and Brown. You're storing it in institutional grade custody at Fireblocks, which is an entity based in the United States. I know a lot of people have been worried about Caleb and Brown because it's based over there in Australia, which is a legitimate concern. But thankfully, your assets are going to be in institutional grade custody within Fireblocks, and it is bankruptcy remote as well. So Fireblocks possesses its own insurance policy should there be any compromise or hacking occurring on their end. And they provided me the link, the Fireblocks blog post explaining how they meet institutional standards in insurance compliance. And so if your assets get lost in the transfer process, compromised or hacked, on their end, they have full coverage on that. In regards to bankruptcy, insolvency, remote, you also have that protection as well. Client assets are insolvency, bankruptcy, remote, as they are held on trust by Caleb and Brown as custodian. That is, while the legal title may be in Caleb and Brown's name, clients retain beneficial ownership at all times, i.e., they do not form part of Caleb and Brown's assets in the event of insolvency. So that's what they told me, is that they do have insurance through Fireblocks. They do have insurance against hacking and criminal activity, against errors made during transferring, and also that they do have bankruptcy remote protection. So if Caleb and Brown for some reason goes under, your assets are still not part of Caleb and Brown's assets, and so you are not going to be owing the creditors anything. Okay, so I know people have been asking about that, wanted to provide that clarity. Very important. How do I feel about Flare staking? Well, we'll see what kind of return that we get once it goes live. As far as for FXRP, obviously you can stake your Flare now over there. I haven't done that with my Flare. My plan is to sell off all my Flare this bull run, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to be staking any of my Flare. There is the potential that I will stake some of my XRP over on Flare, though. If we can get maybe, 6-7% return, that would be intriguing. If it's done in a decentralized way, validating the Flare network, I like that. I like that. And I'll be watching that closely once it rolls out. You remind me of a brother I went to basic training with. God bless you, Zach. Thank you, Sacred Terra. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Put the Fireblocks link in the chat. Let me see if I can. Oh, it's too many. Oh, crap. The link's too big. It won't let me post it in the chat. My apologies. My apologies. If you go to Fireblocks though, and you look up their institutional standards and insurance compliance, you'll find it. You'll find it. USMC Water Rescue, thank you for the 10 spot. Thoughts on Geopolitics, the world's first layer 1 Web3 aggregated ecosystem that unites leading blockchains, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and more. I've heard of it. I have not taken a look at it. What's the ticker? Geopolitics, TIC. I don't even see a ticker on CoinMarketCap. Yeah, I don't see that anywhere. I appreciate the super chat, and I wish I could answer you. Are you selling all of your XRP? No, a very small amount. Very small amount. In fact, I may not even be selling any of my long-term holdings, depending on how this bull run goes, how high XRP goes, and how much XRP I end up making off these meme coins. I'm about to transfer another big bag of XRP to Caleb and Brown. I've told you guys I don't put all my XRP on Caleb and Brown, but I've been loading up. I bought my Zebek over there, and then I've been loading up all the XRP that I make from trading the memes. I loaded up on Caleb and Brown. So I have a bunch of XRP on Uphold, and then I've been stacking XRP on Caleb and Brown. And, you know, the plan is to cash out on both platforms this bull run. Oh, it's a pre-sale. Quebetics is a pre-sale. I stay away from pre-sales personally. I heard that Axelar is a sleeper. What do you think? It is. It's really under the radar. It really is. I still haven't bought the token. It's only a $376 million market cap, 38 cents. The all-time high, though, wow. It did go up to $2.66 in March of last year. Where was my concern, though? I'm trying to think. Wow, there's a very small supply of the tokens. So it looks like by November of next year, the inflation will be done on Axelar. They're basically releasing 1.12% of the supply every month. I'll show you guys this. There's the token unlock schedule from CoinMarketCap. So you get 13 million AXL released every month from now till November of 2026. August of 2026. Okay. I like the tokenomics that I'm looking at. I like the fact that it's already listed on a bunch of tier 1 exchanges. I like the fact that it's only at $376 million market cap right now. I may end up having to do a deep dive on AXL this week for you guys, along with my SHX one, huh? By the way, I'm pretty upset. I saw that some scammers in the Solana space, they made a meme coin based off Zebek called Zebeki. And they didn't give me credit for that name. I know I came up with that name. Nobody else was calling Zebek Zebeki. We came up with that one. And they took it, ran with it, made a meme coin, and then it did what meme coins do. It pumped and dumped. But they could have at least given me some credit, you know. Zebeki. Zach, what are your thoughts on Uphold HODL wallet? Is it worth having? I think it's a good option, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good option. Yeah. You know, whatever you're comfortable with and whatever can store your crypto. I obviously have wallets linked up at my website, but I have multiple different wallets. For the XRP Ledger, I have multiple wallets just for storing my crypto. I got multiple bank accounts, you know, I work with multiple banks. You I was talking with somebody today in a one-on-one call, and I just said it's about having options. I got cash, I got money in the bank, multiple bank accounts, working with multiple banks. I got crypto in cold storage. I got XRP on wallets. I got meme coins. I don't know how well that's going to do me if crap hits the fan, but it's an option. I got my precious metals and everything else, right? It's all about optionality. When one system goes down, you can use another. I'm sorry, what's an outrage? What's an outrage? I see people talking about Fartcoin. I don't know, maybe that's the outrage. I'm going to double check to make sure that we didn't get any breaking news while we were going through tonight's update, and then we'll take a quick look at that, continue with your guys' comments and questions. Keep on dropping them down below. I really do appreciate it. Whoa. Hold up. Okay, I just found something big. This is big. Okay, let me pull this up. This is Bill Morgan with the timeline on the SEC versus Ripple case, and he says if the SEC and Ripple obtain the indicative ruling, which is the agreement of the settlement, if Judge Torres signs off on it, the matter should be concluded within the next several weeks. Ooh, boy. Oh, boy. I might have to clickbait up that one. Case done in the next several weeks. That's a title and a thumbnail right there. The amount of times I have said that this case is over. Wifey doesn't listen to me anymore, so I can't blame you guys for not wanting to see any more talk of the case. I don't want to talk about the case anymore, for crying out loud. But guys, check this out. This is the breakdown from Bill Morgan. I'm going to skip through this whole process right here. Most of you guys kind of understand how we got here. Here's where we're at right now, step 7. Okay? The parties obtain indicative ruling from Judge Torres sought in the second joint motion. That's what we're waiting for Judge Torres to decide on this week or next week. If indicative ruling is obtained, the parties file a motion to the Court of Appeals for a limited remand to seek the relief agreed between the parties from Judge Torres. So basically, this is the Second Circuit, Judge Torres. She signs off on the settlement agreement. Then they go back to the Court of Appeals and they say, okay, Court of Appeals, we have the sign off from Judge Torres. Then, upon the granting of the limited remand, the parties will file a motion with Judge Torres seeking the relief agreed between the parties. Following dissolution of the injunction and payment of the reduced fine of $50 million, the parties will file a motion with the Second Circuit Court of Appeal and cross appeal to be dismissed. I'll scroll on down to where he said, somebody said, so basically we will be fine by 2035. And I know that that's how many of you guys feel, right? This case is never going to end. But Bill responds straight to the point. If the SEC and Ripple obtain the indicative ruling, the matter should be concluded within the next several weeks. Take it to the bank. Case delayed till August. No, it's not. next several weeks. Zach, do you still think that was the last shakeout? Yes, we're still in the middle of the last shakeout. It's yet to be seen if we're going to go set a new lower low. 208 was the low last week. 206 was the low from the Elon Musk Donald Trump feud. $1.60 was the low from the Trump tariffs. We are in the middle of the last and final shakeout. I won't be using that title anymore because this is the last big one before stablecoin legislation, market structure bill, big beautiful bill, case concludes, and ETFs go live. Yeah. So that's where we stand. Next several weeks. I'm not seeing anything breaking. Franklin Templeton spot ETF was delayed. We already covered that. Bitcoin back up to 105. Let's zoom in on it. Let's zoom in on it. Today is interest rate decision day. Wednesday. Sorry, this candle's Wednesday's June 18th candle right here. Decision day. So I capitalized on this red candle that came in today. We were able to secure profit on that Bitcoin short. Didn't nail it as perfect as I would have liked to, but profit is profit. We will take it to the bank and we will watch to see if we are going to go break down lower. Solid structure on all of these cryptos. XRP not breaking below the low that we hit here. Strong structure for all of these. Why is the word shakeout even being used? Don't read through my comments. It's probably not productive for you. Sometimes I wonder why I do it to myself because I read a bunch of nonsense. But I do so because I try to get as much of your guys' feedback as possible. It helps me grow, helps me improve, and it helps me sharpen my skills when it comes to delivering content. The problem, though, is that people get shaken out because they can't handle the delays. They get frustrated. They get ahead of their skis as far as their expectations for XRP. And so these events end up being big shakeouts. I already have read multiple comments of people saying that they sold their entire XRP bags over the past week because of the global conflicts. The problem with that is that the global conflicts didn't lead to the prices going below where we went just a week and a half ago with President Trump and Elon Musk having a tizzy. So I hope that those people were able to get back in, or for their benefit, I would hope that we would get another pullback that would allow them to make those entries again. But it might not. This market's very resilient. We got the Fed interest rate decision tomorrow. Zach, do you know why Uphold's not serving Canada? Canada's just a difficult place to do business right now, and I think that they're buttoning down the hatches on regulating these entities in the crypto space. And so it appears that it's just not worth it for Caleb and Brown and Uphold to do business there. And I mean, if it's too hard for a crypto brokerage to set up shop, you know it's a rough space to be in business. Yeah. But the reason why we use the word shakeout is because I've watched thousands of people get shaken out of XRP. I still remember seeing just hundreds and hundreds of comments and people that sold out of XRP before the November election when we did a 589% pump. That's the problem with that. We tried to remind people of the fundamentals. We tried to explain the setup. And then, when we started to take off, we've been watching the order books. And that's where most of my attention is focused right now, is on the order books. At the end of the day, it's a matter of, is money coming in or out of the asset? You can talk about all these different things, but if we don't lead to inflows, we will not see price action. And I don't think that we see a traditional bear market like we've seen in the past, where we get 70, 80% drawdowns for some of these utility cryptocurrencies that are actually going to be used in the new financial system. So that's the other situation. On the upside, price appreciation, be careful when you hit those exits, and be considering that we might not be going down back to a couple bucks. We might not be going back down to $5. It's really too early to tell, but we'll have to see how high XRP goes, how far along we are on that adoption curve, and that's going to determine where I'm going to predict the bottom for XRP coming in at. I'm not calling the bottom for XRP during the next bear market until I see the top, and until I can gauge where we're at from an adoption standpoint, and I can see where we're at from an XRP ETF inflow perspective. Yeah, Dennis, thank you. 5-spot. Appreciate that. All these ETFs are due for another look July 14th. Likely approved then. Case can't go past August 15th. Appeal, Bill Morgan, getting more clicks. Yeah. And that's all coming together, isn't it, for Q3? Right? July, August, September's Q3. The ETFs go live in Q3, and the case concludes in Q3. Maybe I'll make that video. XRP Q3 timeline. And we can go through how the case ends, the ETFs go live. That's July, August, September. I saw Stu said that property's going on sale 100%. There's already big pullbacks, big corrections that we're seeing in some metros. The Dallas-Fort Worth area has, what was the 40,000 homes for sale just in the resale market in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro? I was watching Nick Gurley, Reventure Consulting, one of my favorite real estate YouTubers. Even though I don't necessarily agree with him on everything, but he provides good real estate content. And I think his data point was 40,000 homes for sale on the resale market, not including new homes. And there's already a bunch of new home construction on the market in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. I visited Dallas-Fort Worth Metro 2 years ago, me, wifey, and the family, and we drove around. I drove around the entire metro, and I was shocked at the development that I was observing. So that's one metro, one market that's already seeing a sharp price decrease. Phoenix is another. Las Vegas is another. And Florida. Florida, basically the whole state, other than certain pockets of Florida are still holding up well, but it's select pockets. You got some big pullbacks being observed in Florida right now. Big corrections in my neck of the woods. Big corrections in my neck of the woods, West Coast, California too. The thing that's saving some of these coastal markets is the red tape that's stopping new construction. In Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, states throughout the Midwest, Florida, they develop at will. There's very little red tape and limitations. In Washington State, part of the traffic that I hit coming back from Seattle this weekend was them tearing up our freeway to build a passage for the salmon underneath the freeway. Sure. I want the salmon to be taken care of as well. It's just an example of where our priorities are set. Let's save the salmon. Sure. But where I come from, you're talking incredible red tape and regulations around wetlands, wetland permitting. In the town that I grew up in, it costs $10,000 to hook up your sewer and water, your utilities. It's $10,000, upwards of $20,000. I've had many people that I've talked to have paid $10,000 to $20,000, or sorry, $10,000 to $50,000 in wetland mitigation up here in Washington State. I talked to one guy who had to pay $200,000 for a retention pond on his probably 2-3 acre property. He had a truck repair stop. Great business in my area, right on the border. Great business, truck repair stop. But I spoke with the owner, and he was a Russian guy that did like to exaggerate. So maybe he was exaggerating a little bit, but I still believe him that it was six figures, because it was massive. It was massive. In fact, I watched him go build his second spot, and the city made him redo the entire road for one block up to his new property. Mind you, there was already existing road and infrastructure, everything was there, but just to get what they could, squeeze them for what they could, they made them redo the entire road leading up to it. And this is what they do in my neck of the woods. It's disgusting. They see one person wants to put in a home, and they'll make the city would make the builders and the property owners basically put in an entire new road for one home. Just stuff like that. So that's why in the coastal regions, you're not seeing as strong of a price declines, is because we don't have as much inventory as we do in Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Florida, other markets where there's not as much red tape. Same thing can be observed in New York, and along the East Coast as well too. Silver broke its $1980 high in Canadian dollars, not inflation adjusted though. Yeah, we still got a run here on silver. Far from over. Yeah, I got some interesting stories about that guy, but I can't share them here. What's up with Trump doing away with capital gains on crypto? We're waiting to see if that actually gets done. Thailand just passed it for the next 5 years. There's an exemption. They're going to see investments pour in. It's just that simple. We need to keep up. The United States has to lead. We've been falling behind, and so it's time for us to catch up. We need to do the right thing. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up this live show here tonight. Let me just check real quick to make sure nothing's breaking. If you guys haven't already, please help us. It really does help. Let's like this video. Help us out by sharing our updates out far and wide. We got quick links for our resources linked up down below. All of them are at zachrector.com, including the XRP family merch. If you guys are looking to join our private community, that is available at Patreon. Sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. Nothing new right now, which is good. We are praying for peace. hoping that nothing escalates from here. But we're going to be watching this situation very closely, guys. I will be back tomorrow with more updates. XRP moving back up right now to $2.17 as I finish off this live show. Let's make sure that we like this video on the way out. Subscribe, hit that notification bell if you are new here. And if you want to support the cause, everything's available at ZachRector.com. Thank you so much. You guys have a fantastic night. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? God bless.